Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Movie Shares Cameraman, and today we're going to be talking about Shōgun. So, I've made two videos about Shōgun already. I reviewed episode 9 because for some reason I decided to and it blew up, so I decided to review episode 10. It wouldn't say it blew up, but it's still up there on my channel. So, now we're going to do the actual review of the series. So, this is going to I'm going to focus on the whole series as a whole. I'm not really going to focus on individual episodes in this. Very simply because I don't feel like it's necessary to. I feel like this show feels more of a full experience rather than an episodic tale. But I'm probably going to review it kind of episodically. Like, it's going to be weird. We're going to figure it out. So let's just jump right into it. Overall, I think this series is pretty incredible, and I feel like everyone really knows it. I don't remember the last time I've heard of a TV show that has really blown up this much from a TV show. Like, I know X-Men 97 is doing good, but that's not on the scale that this is. Everyone is really talking about Shōgun. And I don't remember the last time there was something really on this scale for a TV show, I want to say. For films, there's been stuff that's been bigger than this, but for a TV show, the last time I can really think, maybe Wednesday, because that I knew blew up. I remember that blowing up. There was a lot of things that blew up, and I don't remember the last time something on this level. And I think a huge part of that, I just want to begin with saying, is the cinematography, the set, costume, prop design. Beginning with cinematography, the entire show looks so good. I think even the shots in this, like the camera quality and the lighting in general, in every scene is good. I don't think there was really a single scene that looked bad, except for the final battle at the end of episode 10, when they were doing that CGI battle. I will say that was the one time in the whole show that looked below par compared to the rest of the show. And if that was in like a Marvel movie, for example, that would have been like a pretty decent shot for a Marvel movie. But compared to all the rest of the shots in this show, that was like one of the worst. And there were a ton of incredible shots. The amount of times that they did like a drone shot, or like even CGI when they like have it be on the ground level and it raise up and it would show either Osaka or Edo or something, and it would show like the massive castle or something. That happened so many times in the show when it just would raise and show the city. The camera would raise and stuff. And the amount of times that they did that, and each time it looked incredible. I want to make it clear, there was not a single time that really those shots didn't look good, and it showed the scale of it. And I remember specifically in episode 10, when they had the shot over the city at Marika's funeral, and it was all like squares and stuff, and I was like, wow, that's another incredible shot. But that's how like they really thought about the way it was done. Like, everything was very like uniform, but that's also the way it was. And I thought that was just so impressive, the way that was done. I thought a lot of the cinematography as well, not even drone shots or CGI, but just the shots in general, I feel always had movement. Like, there were a few still shots, but when there was a still shot, it was meant to give purpose. And when there was a moving shot, that was also meant to give purpose. I feel like every shot in this series had a reason for that shot to be used. There wasn't a shot that was like, oh, that was an interesting cut. I feel like each shot was impressive, it was good, and it had purpose. And I think another huge thing was the way that it immersed us into 1600 in Japan. I think that was probably another one of the most impressive parts of it. The costume design is incredible. I think every single costume in this is so good. And for the amount of characters there are as well, and how each character pretty much is their own thing, is so good. Each character has their own like characteristics and stuff. I felt like all of that was so good. The set designs as well. I think that was even more impressive than the costumes. The fact that they had these massive Japanese homes and stuff. And this was filmed in Canada, mostly, I think, or fully in Canada. And there were so many different sets. I just thought it was so impressive. The way that they had so many different versions of these like similar things, and yet it wasn't even in a location that really had many. And the props as well. I feel like a lot of the props, a lot of the sets, I feel like everything that it was in the show, there wasn't anything that was like, well, maybe that's out of time period, or maybe that doesn't look that good, or maybe they could have put a little more costume or design there. Everything was designed so well. Even the ways the characters moved was so good. Like, I was on YouTube and I saw this like YouTube short from FX, and it was like how they taught the people to walk. And I was like, I feel like most TV would do this nowadays, like they make sure everything was accurate. But it's so impressive that even they're like down to like the way that they walk, those shots that made it sure that that would happen as well. It was just so impressive, every single shot, and how they did as good as they could to immerse us into this universe. And it was, I think it also has to credit the story of the novel a little. I'm reading the book right now, and it's so good. So I feel like you have to give some credit to the source material, and not just all credit to this, but the source material is also so good. So it's just so incredible the way that they're bringing that book to the big screen because of how grand the book is. And I thought that's so impressive. And I think even to go into like the obvious, the acting in this is just incredible. I think every single actor can steal a show in a scene. I think Hiroki Sanada, I think I said that wrong. He is incredible in every scene he's in. I think Anna Sawai also. Mariko and Toranaga are incredible in every scene. I think Cosmo Jarvis as Blackthorn is also incredible in every scene. I think Fuji's incredible in almost every scene. So I think that even also like Yabushige, and I feel like every actor is doing such a good job. And I could be here all day explaining each scene of how they're doing such a good job performing facial expressions, movements. I think all of that is so impressive, and I think it just shows how in each scene they're not just doing good, but they're all putting everything they have onto the table in each scene. I think it just shows how committed they are to these roles. And I think that if they weren't as committed to the roles, the show wouldn't stick as much. I think part of the reason why this show is so good and we all are going to remember it and everyone's talking about it is because each actor is, when we look at these actors, we don't see the actor, we see the character. I know that's what an actor should do, but they are doing it times 10 here. Moving past acting, I think I spoke about story already. If I didn't, a lot of the credit does have to go to the book because the book is incredible. But if you aren't, I think the story in this, the fact that they're bringing that to the big screen is so good. I don't remember what I've spoken about at this point. I think choreography I haven't yet. Choreography in this is so good. I think for me personally, I was very excited to see a lot of the fight scenes going into the show. Coming out of it, I'm happy there weren't as many, but each fight scene was so good. I'm going to focus on a few here. At the end of episode 2, there was a huge fight, and in my opinion, this was by far one of the best fights in the whole series. I loved the way that the blood was splattering against the walls, and I think it was a huge testament to how good the cinematography is. I think, and the direction as well. I think a normal director could have just said, let's just have a easy fight with like a one take and having it follow through and just having the shadows kill. I think that would have been cool, but I think the fact that they have these thin paper walls, that them shining like through the walls because the light's still gonna come through a little, and then having the blood splatter. It has a huge splatter. Like, it's an unrealistic amount of blood that just comes out, but I feel like you can look past that because of how good it looks. When someone stabs, it like the blood will fly against the paper, and it will create this whole line, and I feel like it makes it for such an immersive fight scene. It's one of my favorites in the whole series. I think after that fight scene, I really love the fight in episode 9. There's two very good ones in that episode. The first one that I really enjoy in that episode, I believe, I could be wrong, is at the beginning, and it is the samurai fight. Yes, it definitely is. I'm not wrong. I love the way that the samurais are fighting at first and how one of them just gets stabbed and is willing to die because of seppuku and how they lost. And I love that whole fight because I love the way the samurai were fighting. And then once that fight ended, I love that Mariko took a weapon and started to fight, and she fought so differently than the samurai, and she fought like this elegant way, trying to fight against them, and then once she knew she couldn't beat them all, she then gave up. And I feel like that was such a brilliant fight. I think that fight looked so good. I think it had such good like sound effects and stuff. And even once that fight scene ended, there was another great fight scene that episode. And the second great fight, the second one was at the very end of the episode. And that was the best episode in the whole series, in my opinion. And that fight scene was the best one in the whole series. It takes the blood elements from the end of episode 2, not as much of it, and it mixes it with the gun effect. When the gun of Blackthorn is shot, when his pistol is shot, not every time, but the first time it is shot, I do not think there's a single person who watched it the first time that Blackthorn shoots his pistol and didn't like jump a little, because of how much that pistol effect, like it was so loud, and when it was shot, it was like boom, and you felt it, like you felt that bullet fly almost, like you knew when that bullet was shot, like, oh my god, like it like woke you up a little. So the way that they were having the swords with the ninjas, and they were having the fighting, most people were fighting with swords, and then mixed with Blackthorn's big spectacle pistol shots that were also like lighting up the whole like shot. I felt like the swords were moving so well. I love focusing on Blackthorn and him shooting the pistol. I had to watch that fight scene a few times because of how genuinely good it was. And that episode ended with an incredible death of Mariko. And I feel that if they did like what we thought Crimson Sky was going to be in a huge rush, I think that could have been cool. But I think it was even cooler just showing a few group of people just having this massive fight and everyone having their own style and stuff. I thought it was so impressive. I thought it was so incredible. And also the music. You can't look past the music. The music in this is also so good. I loved the music in this. It was, I think the opening credits, I didn't skip a single one. I loved the way that the music was designed. I thought this episode was just so genuinely incredible. And I am so excited to see. I don't think there's going to be season 2. I really don't. I hope there is, but I actually hope there isn't. I'm going to be honest. I hope that they adapt more of James C's, I'm blanking, Clavels, I think. I'm blanking on his last name, though. I hope they adapt more of his books. I know he's a whole series of books of Asian culture. I believe he has I don't remember exactly where he has them. But I hope they adapt more because FX is so good at this stuff. I'm hoping to watch some of their other series later, and I thought this was just incredible. I think you can't really doubt that this series is just so good. I think if you're denying it, you're just lying to yourself. It is such a good series. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. If you've watched it, watch it again. And this was just incredible. And besides that, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. See you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.